3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Real Pineapple, and this is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're all having a great week, whenever you're listening to this. I've got a review for the latest Jeff Fowler directed film. Jeff Fowler, who's directed a few things, most notably, of course, the first Sonic the Hedgehog, and now the second Sonic the Hedgehog. I've got the review for Sonic 2 here, which of course brings back really everyone from the first film, including Jim Carrey's Robotnik, James Marsden's Tom, aka Donut Lord, and most importantly, of course, Ben Schwartz as Sonic. Okay, I gotta talk about this movie. So, when I reviewed the first one, I gave it an A- because, some very horrendous product placement and some pacing that I thought, okay. But I'll be very honest with y'all. I put the original on for my cat over the last couple weeks, and just in between working, just catching, glimpses of it here and there. It's been like, I really enjoyed this movie. I really enjoyed this movie. A- and all. I don't care. It's such a wonderful love letter to, Sonic fans. And just a really solid, enjoyable family flick. This movie is really everything I wanted from a sequel. So I'm just gonna kind of dive in here. So it goes ahead and starts off in Seattle. We find out that Sonic is pulling a Batman, sneaking out at night, trying to go ahead and, prevent crime. And he goes ahead and royally fucks up this, spoilers, by the way, because I'm going to try to stay away from the big spoilers, but I am going to have to spoil a few things. But he goes ahead and saves or stops his bank robbery, but ends up destroying a city block, kind of like Sonic Rush Hour, if you will. And I really like the opening, and I'm really liking how Sonic is interacting more in the, quote, real world, unquote. James Marsden, man, he's one of those actors who I really don't think we give enough credit. Yes, he absolutely got the shaft in those X-Men films, but even if you look at something like, Robot and Frank, which he's great in, or Hairspray, or Enchanted, or Sex Drive, which I've reviewed and will post at some point, or even in Anchorman 2, he's one of the few good things about it. James Marsden's a hell of an actor, and the fact that him and Ben Schwartz continue to have this chemistry is something I've really got to give him a lot of credit for, because it does take two to tango. And Marsden, gives he gives the classic dad speech while they're out fishing, going like, hey man, like you are, and to his point, he's 1,000% correct. You are still a kid, and you can't just go out, using your powers whenever you want. It's basically the Iron Man speech in Homecoming, but not hypocritical, which I actually really like. But the chemistry between Tom, Donut Lord, and Sonic is still here, and that's something that I was really incredibly happy to see. Jim Carrey, playing Robotnik again. So I've talked about my reverence and my love for Jim Carrey. I think Kidding is an incredibly underrated show. I was really, really bummed when Showtime canceled it, but I could of course go Ace Ventura, Liar Liar, Man on the Moon. I love you. I love you, Phil Moore. I could go on and on. Jim Carrey is one of the best actors in the last 30 years, I'd say. And it's really sad to think about him not acting anymore. I didn't even mention In Living Color. It's a sad world to think about the fact that he could just be done. But if this is his last role, he's going out on the most Jim Carreyist level or role that he possibly could. And I kind of love that for him, because how many times do actors get to, go out on something on their own terms? I think about Robert Redford, going out with The Old Man and the Gun, which is a movie I fucking adore. But I mean, we could go down the list, but how many, actors or actresses that we absolutely adore, go out on shit movies. And I'm really happy that Jim Carrey's not going to go out on a shit movie. That makes me incredibly happy. His Robotnik, the thing that I love about certain kids' films, and really love about this film in particular, is that Robotnik is a petty bitch, as Robotnik is in general. But the fact is, he really hates Sonic, and you feel that coming through more and more. And there is a level of sinister to his Robotnik that we definitely saw in that first film, but that's really amplified here in the second film, because the first film, it's like, all right, cool, I need to just kill this hedgehog and experiment on him. This time around, it's like, oh, there's a Master Emerald I can go ahead and use, and I can go ahead and conquer the world on top of that. Oh, and kill Tom and his wife Maddie, played again by Tika Sumpter, aka Collateral Damage, as Robotnik called her in the first film. His level of petty is amplified, and it's kind of wonderful. And Jim Carrey in particular really does amp this up in a way that is cartoonish, in the way that, a Sonic villain should be, but also menacing in a way that I wish we would see more villains be menacing in kids' films. Also, and this is probably the biggest laugh I got the whole film, because it's a recurring joke that if you're a kid, it'll totally go over your head and you'll go, oh, he's being mean, that's funny. I apologize if I butcher his name. Majdoob's Agent Stone returns. He's working at a coffee shop called Mean Bean, which is such a wonderful Easter egg, because, of course, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, aka that Tetris ripoff, which is a great game, by the way. I love the fact that's where he works at. But Robotnik has that whole Mean Bean coffee shop as a cover for another lab, which I really appreciate. Again, this is one of those things I just go, yeah, this all makes sense, because Robotnik, being as insane as he is, being as manipulative and as precise as he is and cerebral as he is, he would have multiple outs to go ahead and try to kill Sonic, whether it's perhaps a moon base or if it's here on Earth. And I love that. I love that the Mean Bean coffee shop is just another cover for him to have all these toys to fuck up Sonic's life. I love that. But the big joke here that I was just mentioning is Agent Stone and Robotnik, they've either fucked before or they've gotten really close to it, because it is a clear Dom simp relationship that Agent Stone and Robotnik have. There's even this point, the first thing Robotnik says when he's able to get out of the mushroom world is, have my coffee ready. It's not, I missed you or I'm back. It's just straight up, have my coffee ready. And I just started laughing, because that's so something that an asshole would say, but also someone that appreciates the coffee / might have feelings for the person who has the coffee. And the movie itself does everything but turn and look at the camera and go, yeah, we know. It's very Simpsons, Mr. Burns, Smithers-esque at points, where the show would clearly break the fourth wall and go, yes, we know. We're very fucking aware of what we're writing. That comes across like a motherfucker in here. And anytime they would refer to that, I just found myself going, damn, y'all are being shameless with it. And I appreciate the hell out of that. Now I want to talk about the new additions real quick. Great band too. Idris Elba's Knuckles. Idris Elba's fucking perfect in this role. I'm blanking off the top of my head. I feel like he's done voice acting and other stuff, but he's a great voice actor. Like, he really is great in this. And it was something that Finding Dory, there we go, and Zootopia. What am I talking about? So yeah, it's been a little while, but Zootopia was, oh god, how long was Zootopia? It's like 2016, so it's been like 5 years. So it's been a little while. But Knuckles, the way that they portray him, they really portray him as the Echinda Drax the Destroyer, or Drax the Destroyer, what am I talking about? which actually works perfectly here because there's so many moments of ironic humor that just go over Knuckles' head, but he's supposed to be, you know, a warrior. And I love the way that they call back to the original film as far as the Echindas, you know, ambushing Sonic and Longclaw in their home. Like, that was something I was like, oh wow, you're tying this back. I appreciate that. But there, one of the jokes that just made me laugh really hard is Robotnik, you know, asks Knuckles, you know, like, we're going to be partners. We can take down Sonic together. You know, shake my hand. That's how we do it here on Earth. And Knuckles is so strong that he basically he breaks two of Robotnik's knuckles, and you see Robotnik not, you know, they cut away so that you don't see it, but he snaps him back into place, and you're like, oh my god. But I love that Knuckles, like, humor like that just flies over his head. And it's really quite funny because Sonic, very much like Peter Parker, won't shut the fuck up even when he's in peril and when he's fighting, and he's given Knuckles the business from a verbal standpoint. But what I really, really enjoyed about Knuckles, especially his intro, when you see Robotnik, when he shows back up at Tom's house, because Tom and Maddie are on vacation with Natasha Rothwell's Rachel, Maddie's sister, because she's getting married to Shamar Moore's Randall. Which, by the way, go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead and get you some Shamar Moore. He's kind of handsome. And that's probably going to be most people's biggest complaint is, why is this human plot here? Oh my god, it's a wedding. Oh my god, so dumb. And while I can understand why people will have that complaint as far as the wedding being dumb and pointless, the payoff to that whole arc is shockingly clever. And it was something that I was actually sitting in the theater with my partner, and I looked at her and went, I am shocked they actually had a plan for this. Because yes, in any other normal film, it would be the Smurfs, where it would just really not tie to anything, and it would just be very much we have to have these humans in here because they're humans, and, you know, we want them to earn their pay. But they actually do a good job of making it tie back to the overall arching plot, which is something I was shocked by. So I give the movie a ton of credit for that, because it does add some gravity to the peril that's coming with the whole Master Emerald and everything. It was a really pleasant surprise, to be honest. I always butcher her name, and I feel bad, but I'm probably going to butcher it here. But Colleen O'Shaughnessy, who's done voice work for freaking ever, whether it's the Proud Family or Digimon or the Avengers Earth Minus Heroes, where she played Janet Van Dyne. She's an incredible voice actress, and she's voiced Tails for freaking ever. And I was so happy she got a chance to go ahead and voice Tails for a major motion picture. And Tails is always one of those characters, even the second game, I was like, you're annoying. Why are you around? Damn it. And the more, I played Sonic games, Sonic 3 and Sonic Adventure games and all that, the more you just realize Tails is just a good dude. And you need a friend like Tails who's ride or die, who's always going to be there for you. And Tails, that camaraderie comes across so well in this movie. And it was something that really made me happy, because there is a world where they go ahead and they just fuck up Tails. Like, Tails could be very annoying very easily. And yet, no, they go ahead and stick the landing with Tails. There's this point where Tails and Sonic have to go ahead and they end up in this, I can't remember where they end up, but they're in this bar, and they have to go ahead and get this map that leads them to the Master Emerald. And that whole sequence, of course, ends in a dance number. Now, I know I always talk about how, dance numbers in kids' films, those are the fucking worst. A, the film doesn't end with that, thankfully. And B, it's actually a way to go ahead and get their camaraderie across and actually have them work together as a team for really the first time. And so it actually works. And it leads to this horribly adorable moment where Tails falls asleep by a fire, and Sonic falls asleep next to him. And you just see Tails as Tails plop over Sonic to keep him warm like a blanket. And that's a big thing I'll probably say, I will have to say about this movie. Even if your heart is made of stone, the movie kind of just cutes you into submission. You know what I mean? Like, there are just so many moments where I'm sitting there going, wow, they really just kind of know how to pull on the heartstrings just enough. When Robotnik obviously turns on Knuckles, because of course he would, it's actually pretty cold the way he does it. I just went, damn, okay. And of course, you know, it has to go that way. Of course it does. But overall, though, it was something that felt very cold and callous even for Robotnik. And each time Robotnik has a chance to kill Sonic, he's reveling in that shit. He's reveling in that shit in a way that I went, oh, wow, okay, this is actually shockingly dark. And when Robotnik does get his hands on the Master Emerald, because of course he does at a point, we get two incredible Easter eggs. The way that Robotnik's suit and everything looks way closer to, you know, Robotnik Prime, as far as him, you know, like in Sonic Adventure and stuff like that, down to the color scheme, the costume, and the mustache and all that, and the goggles, of course. But I love the fact that we get a freaking and I'm gonna have to I'm gonna go Easter egg crazy here, so bear with me. There's a point where Sonic is almost drowns, and he goes ahead and uses an air bubble, just like in Sonic 2 when they debuted that that option, which was something I thought was fucking adorable. Robotnik flat out gives Agent Stone all this crap for not reading the manual for piloting this giant robot. And the manual he holds up looks exactly like the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Sega Genesis game manual, which was something I went, oh, I remember. You remember you used to get game manuals and it wasn't a piece of paper. I just said, if you want to learn how to play the game, go online and check out the digital manual. Seeing the actual manual again, I went, oh, that fucking takes me back. Fuck yeah. We get a giant Robotnik robot, straight out of Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Love that shit. Something that made me so incredibly happy. We get the Tails red biplane. Love that. Actually shows off the Tails a pilot, and we get multiple instances of Tails using his tech to go ahead and help him and Sonic on their mission. Something I absolutely adored. We get Robotnik's pod straight out of the first Sonic game. Even in the it's shown in the trailer, that whole ice that ice level that they show. Robotnik's in that pod. That's just like in the first game. Sonic rides a piece of Robotnik's robot like a snowboard in the ice cap zone from Sonic 3. They even have a digital holographic version of Sonic that looks straight up like the 3D version of him in Sonic Adventure, and Robotnik just smashes it. Like, there's so many references in here that I just went, oh my god, I love this so freaking much. And again, if you're a Sonic fan, it's just going to be one of those things where you go, wow, they are cramming this with Easter eggs, but it never feels like the movie stops to go ahead and, and go Easter egg, Easter egg. They all feel very organic for what the film is, which is something I really appreciate. Also, when Robotnik meets the aliens who come through the ring ahead of Knuckles, where he escapes, he drops the whole magic incarnation from Army of Darkness, which I thought was, which as a film nerd, I just went, okay, fuckers, you're flexing now. Also, there is a joke about Vin Diesel and The Rock, which made me laugh really hard, and there's a reference to a 90s band as far as why they kind of suck, and I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to give away the punchline. But that in particular was something that just made me go, wow, that is a savage fucking joke. It's near the end of the movie. You'll know it when you hear it. But thinking about other stuff here, God, what else I kind of want to talk about? The action is so well done, start to finish. Knuckles and Sonic, it really feels like a battle whenever they're fighting each other. So, of course, when they eventually team up, because, of course they would, it really does feel earned. And I actually like the way they both kind of address their trauma as far as that opening scene in the first Sonic, where you kind of go, oh wow, they both are coming from that exact same day as far as that event, but they both just had tragic things happen to them that were really out of their control. And it's really quite sad when the movie kind of starts to dig into that a little bit. This movie, again, is written by Pat Casey and Warren Miller, who I believe wrote the first one. Yes, they did. And yeah, let them keep doing these. If they're down to keep writing these movies, like, hell yeah, keep bringing them back, because these two writers clearly get how to inject these movies with the sort of energy that these films need to have, but also at the same time have some Easter eggs and stuff that if you're, a fan since day one, like I was, I mean, to go a little nostalgic here, my first birthday present or Christmas present that I remember genuinely loving was my Sega Genesis. And I remember opening it up and going, oh my God, and seeing, Sonic on the cover looking like a G and just being like, wow, oh my God, I can't wait to play Sonic the Hedgehog for the first time. So the five-year-old Hunter seeing this movie is like, oh, you're not fucking this up. And look, Morbius is still very fresh in my mind. And when I think about how studios can just take a property and pump out a movie just for the sake of corporate greed and the sake that it's an IP, so of course we'll make money. Fuck you, Morbius, by the way. When you see something done with care like this, it's like, oh, you can actually make a geek property outside of Marvel and DC and not just bastardize it. Like, what a fucking concept. If you actually make something good, people will come out and support it, which really should be a message for studios in general. Don't make bullshit. People will come out and support your stuff if you actually care about what you're making. And I will say, the end, how Sonic beats Robotnik. It's a very clever way to write Robotnik off if Jim Carrey is indeed done acting. I think he comes back and finishes the trilogy, personally. I think we get Robotnik on the moon. I think we get the moon base. I think that's a very easy thing to do. But also the mid-credit scene, and I won't spoil it just because, again, I that is something I want people to discover for themselves. When that mid-credit scene happened, I was like, holy crap, really? We're doing this? And we've already confirmed we're getting a third Sonic the Hedgehog film, which is not surprising. And we already know that we're getting a Knuckles TV show. So they're clearly invested in developing this IP and continuing to hopefully get it right. And I'm just happy. Like, I'm really just happy that that they're taking care of this IP, that people are actually excited to see where the character is going to go. As far as complaints, because I know I've been harping just praise on praise on praise on this movie. The movie is over 2 hours. It's 2 hours, 2 minutes. If you want to argue it's too long, it's about 20 minutes longer than its predecessor. If you want to argue it's too long, that's fine. But honestly, the human aspect, as far as that subplot, I think really is warranted for where it ends up. I think the action is a big improvement over the first one, which I thought the action in the first one was great. But there's just a lot of variety as far as how the action's done. It's fun. It feels captivating. That first opening scene that I mentioned was already better than anything I saw in Morbius, like 10 minutes in. I was like, holy shit, you've already beat Morbius. But this movie, son of a bitch, I can't believe it worked even better for me than it did in the first one. And I already alluded to it, but the way that Sonic beats Robotnik at the end is such a Sonic thing that I just went, oh my God. And I honestly cried. I cried hard because I never thought they would do this in a Sonic film and do it so well. And it just really warmed my heart in a way that I went, yeah, I just kind of love these movies. So I'm going to give this a solid A. This is a step up for me from the original. Take your kids. If you're a Sonic fan, you will be so happy watching this movie. My partner has never played a Sonic game, and we were both sitting there like, wow, I can't believe that they are just knocking us out of the park the way they are. Also, Jim Carrey, does get a really good dig at Trump, where he's trying to talk his way out of Sonic, whipping his ass, and he goes, oh, there were good people on both sides, and I went, oh, like it's a very quick line, but I went, oh, Jim Carrey, that shade, I fucking love that. So yeah, this is a solid A for me. This is something I absolutely adore. I might go see it again this week. I might go see this again. I had so much fun with this, and I will definitely be buying this on Blu-ray when it comes out, or on a 4K when it comes out. But everyone, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, what did you think of it? Have you seen it? How excited are you for Sonic 3? Where do you think they're going with this? You can let us know in the comments. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at jhunterrealpineapple. You can follow Scott on Twitter at Nearman1st. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us most places you listen to podcasts: SoundCloud, Apple, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Spotify, at The Real Pineapple. And don't forget to like both our pages on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. That's REEL Pineapple, and Real Pineapple Games. And you can follow me on Letterboxd at Black Shazam, and you can follow me on TikTok at Black Shazam 775. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. We will have reviews up this week for Ambulance, which I am so excited to review that freaking movie, as well as for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Also very excited to watch that. And I will have my best and worst of this weekend posting. Finally, I'm really excited to get that out to y'all. But everyone, thank you so much for listening. Take care of each other. Get your COVID shot if you haven't gotten it yet. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.